All righty, joining us now live from the Ohio Derby, JACK Thistledown, racing manager. Got him labeled here in the notes as the horse racing expert on the show today.
Really? All right.
Patrick joins the show. Patrick, what's going up? What's going on, man?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on. This is crazy. So I will just start there. I didn't expect this. So obviously they were hyping it up to me. They had me hype it up to Phil that, this was going to be a big event. It's a huge day for JACK Thistledown. It's a huge day for Ohio racing. Talk to us a little bit about what this means for the horse racing landscape and what it means for, our little Northeast Ohio community.
JACK Thistledown is thrilled to have the fans, all eyes in the country, are on Thistledown today. They're on JACK Thistledown. People are watching our races. The $500,000 Ohio Derby. I mean, it's a big race. It's real money. As you can see, the people that came here to run.
Oh yeah.
You get some of the top connections in the country. Guys that normally ride in New York, ride in Kentucky, trainers that normally run, their owners that normally run in those jurisdictions. They're here today. They come for the money, and it gives the people of Northeast Ohio a chance to see these horses in person.
Yeah.
Run right on their home track.
Yeah.
And a chance to bet on them and have a good time.
All right, so we want to get into some of the stuff with the betting, right? Because like Allie told you, she was not lying. We are complete rookies, complete novices in the world of horse betting. So doing a little research on Google, right before the show. So you got win, place, show. When you bet on a horse, your horse doesn't actually have to win the race in order to win that bet, correct?
Correct. There's horizontal and vertical wagers. You can wager in one race. For instance, if you're betting this upcoming race, you can bet to win, which means the horse has to win. You can bet to place, which means the horse has to run first or second. Or you can bet to show, which means the horse can run first, second, or third, and you're still cashing your ticket. So normally a novice wager, someone that's just starting out, you want them to cash a ticket. They normally start out, and it's easier to win that way. You don't win nearly as much because you're breaking up a pool over 3 payouts instead of 1.
Yeah.
So, if you're betting a favorite to show, you might be making a couple dimes here and there, $2.20 to show. There's many different ways of wagering that you're going to make much more money. They have the exacta, which is the first 2 finishers in order. You can box them up. They have the trifecta, the first 3 finishers. And then you get more difficult. They got the superfecta, which is the first 4 finishers. And now horse racing's even invented this thing called a high five, where you bet the top 5 finishers, which is next to impossible sometimes.
Has anybody did it?
Yes, they do it plenty of times. Some of their tickets are quite expensive to do it.
Oh wow.
And then there's also the horizontal, the vertical wagers, which is race to race. So here at JACK Thistledown, we have pick 3s. There's rolling pick 3s. So in this race, you can bet a pick 3. So you got to pick the winners of 3 races in a row. There's pick 4s. You got to pick 4 races in a row. Pick 5s, pick 6s. And that's a lot of the stuff that's caught on across this country has been the pick 4 wagering. They made it a 50-cent wager, and a lot of people love playing pick 4s, pick 5s. It gives you, it spreads out your money a little bit.
Yeah, so that's kind of like parlays in the world of sports betting. We do a lot of sports betting on the show. Obviously, our show is presented by betJACK, so it sounds like the pick 4s, that kind of thing, is a little bit similar to the parlays in the sports betting.
It's very similar.
Gotcha.
Someone who's participated in betting some of those parlays, you like to figure out if you're getting value on your bets.
Exactly.
A pick 4, when you're trying to figure out the payout, I've historically, you'll sit there, you get a horse that pays $6 to win. Then all of a sudden you pop a horse at 20. So, you take that at 3 $2 wagers times 20. Okay, now we're at $60 and you're 2 legs in. Let's say you catch a favorite at even money. Your 60 turns into 120. Next thing you know, you get a 5-1 shot. Your 120 just turned into 600. Okay, so now if you're spreading that over that stuff, you're betting it for 50 cents. It's going to pay more than that 150 parlay for sure. So I would say 95% of the time you're doing much better than playing your win parlay and type wagers of that nature.
Gotcha. So obviously, kind of sad news, I guess, that betJACK will not actually have pari-mutuel wagering, which is horse racing, on the app. So that'll all take place here at Thistledown still. Talk to me a little bit about the day and the purses, because that was another thing that took me a little bit by surprise, is the winning, teams and horses and jockey and that sort of thing. For the main race, $500,000 purse, and then the one right before that with the lady horses is $250,000.
It's $250,000, yes.
So some serious money.
Serious money, and the winner gets 60% of that money.
Okay.
So it's 60% of the winner. They get $300,000 for winning the Ohio Derby.
Yeah.
Of that $300,000 is broken down. 10% goes to the rider. So they, it's about a minute and 55 seconds for 30 grand.
Yeah.
Trainer gets 10%. And so the owner walks away with the rest of the money. These horses, they're expensive to take care of. So when they get a chance to hit a jackpot like this,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you see buying these well-bred horses, it's nothing to see them sell for $500,000 as a baby.
A couple of my buddies I play with have bought a few racing horses that actually race them and things like that. So, yeah.
It's big money. And a lot of athletes who have a lot of big money have gotten into horse racing. It's you see a lot of these guys at the Derby. They come out to have a good time, throw their money around. Next thing you know, someone talks them into coming to a sale. Next thing you know, they pay $3 million for a baby. They might not even make it to the races, but it's it's the sport of kings in many senses. And when you're dealing at that upper echelon level, you got to have the money to play the game. That's
for sure.
Yeah, so obviously horse racing was not just the story in sports. It was the story in all of news not too long ago when Rich Strike, the famous horse that won the Kentucky Derby, 80-1 odds across the finish line. That was, the biggest long shot ever, right?
In the history of the Kentucky Derby.
Did anybody bet big on that for him to win?
I had heard that there was a few people out there that bet 2,000 here and there, and I think most of those people were connected to the horse in some way.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people on Derby Day that bet $1,000 to win on every horse in the race and just drink mint juleps all day, and they got pretty lucky.
Yeah.
But for the most part, for the horse to be 80-1 with the way Perry Mutual Wagering is set up, it basically means not a lot of people bet on the horse, and that's why
for sure,
he was 80-1. And he got to share everyone else's money. The few people that bet on him got to get everybody's money.
Which is crazy. And so another part of that, right, is Sonny Leone. And obviously, this being one of his home tracks, here in Ohio, we were lucky enough to bring Sonny on to the Sports Parlor earlier this week. How cool is it to have him as part of this day at the Ohio Derby?
It's awesome. I mean, everyone here at Thistledown, JACK Thistledown, was so happy for Sonny, and I mean, everyone was sort of in shock too. I don't think anyone really expected it. When a guy like Sonny and a trainer like Eric Reed is running a horse in the Kentucky Derby, it's an accomplishment in its own right. It really is. And when they crossed the wire in front, I'm sure no one was more shocked than him.
It was, for sure.
Yeah. He even admitted. He admitted on the show. He was like, he's like, I didn't think we were going to win. He's like, I knew we had a shot, but I didn't think we were going to win.
I mean, the trainer fainted. The trainer actually went down after the race. He just, he dropped. So, he had to wake him up and say, you actually won the Derby.
That's like winning the Super Bowl for them, man. The Kentucky Derby.
It's the Super Bowl. It's the MVP. It's everything balled up into one. The Kentucky Derby in horse racing. We have bigger days where they give away bigger money on Breeders' Cup Day and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But the Kentucky Derby is and always will be that goal race when you get involved in horse racing.
Yeah, so this obviously is like, for Ohio, though, this is the premier Ohio race. Like, we're in it right now. We're a part of it today.
We are, and it's awesome. And we've put together a great race. It's, we're down to 7 horses with the scratch, but you have some horses in there that grade 1 winners. You got some of the top jockeys, top trainers in the country. Irad Ortiz came to town. He is the champion jockey in 2018, 2019, 2020. The guy's probably, on average, the last 5 years, winning $24-25 million in purses a year. He does well, and he is a tremendous jockey.
How much of the work? This is such a weird question, so forgive me. How much of the work? Obviously, the jockey is riding the damn thing going in.
The jockey's smaller than you, though.
Yeah,
they little.
Okay, right. I know that.
I would say the average rider, without the equipment, weighs about 114 pounds.
How much prep? Here's a better way to phrase the question. How much prep does the jockey do with the horse leading up to the race?
It all depends on where the jockey's located. Your top jockeys, they will travel around and get on these horses literally sometimes for the first time the afternoon of the race.
Wow.
So it goes into a whole team of people that, from exercise riders to other jockeys that'll work the horse in the morning.
Yeah.
There are here at Thistledown, and we have jockeys that'll go out in the morning. They get on 10, 15 horses a day working these horses in hopes of getting that mount in the afternoon. So it's not all the glitz and glamour that an Irad Ortiz gets for a lot of jocks. Yeah. It's a tough hustle job, and you get around, and the only way they get business is to be named on a horse.
So our jockeys, can you say they're like contractors?
They are contract employees, yes.
Gotcha.
So they work. A jockey is alone in his own right. A jockey hires a jockey's agent. Most of them have an agent.
Yeah.
And those agents get anywhere from 20% to 33% of their check.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jocks agents now have anywhere from, a lot of states limit how many you can have, but let's say here you can have 2.
Yeah.
And now some people have 2 here, 2 in Kentucky, 2 in Indiana. So it's like a sports agent in that effect, but they do limit how many you can have. And so it's a team effort. And that agent goes out, he says, hey, I'd love to ride your horse. They try to pick which horse they think is going to win.
Yeah.
And they try to beg you for them up.
Yeah.
Really.
So the agents go to the owners. And
agent goes to the trainer normally.
Okay.
Sometimes if the trainer's not on his side, he'll go to the owner, which isn't. They don't think it's fair play, but it certainly has happened. That's
for sure.
So how did you get involved in the world of horse racing? Because it's such a subculture, and the people that are in it, like the people here at JACK Thistledown, like they're in it, man. They know all about it. They're all the way in. How'd you get involved in this?
I was like many. I was born into it.
Okay.
My father years ago worked here. Did the same job I did 50 years ago. My grandfather was a starter, trainer, so it was my horse racing DNA probably goes back 100 and some odd years, and that's
awesome.
I tried to get out of it. I went to college. I did all, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to be in racing because everyone said don't get into racing, but it gets in your blood, and you really I was drawn back to it time and time again, and I love it. I've worked all over the country. It's allowed me to travel, meet hundreds of wonderful people, and it's a family. It's horse racing.
It is. It seems that way.
It's a family.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. All right, so we got a couple of things. We'll call this segment Craziest Horses. What's your craziest horse bet that you've ever seen? Would it have to be Rich Strike 80-1?
It would have to be one of them. There was a horse in the Arkansas Derby. I want to say it was 1999.
Okay.
Won the Arkansas Derby. The horse's name was Valhall. Nobody saw it coming. It was the end of it was the Derby preps were the Bluegrass, the Wood Memorial, and the Arkansas Derby. They had them all on the same day. And they had this big pick 3 that everybody bet. You know, it was like the first national pick 3 of races commingled. And Valhall comes up in the final leg of it. I don't know what the horse was. Had to be well into the hundreds of ones.
Wow.
And never stopped. Never stopped. So that was one for me. I remember looking up going, who was that? And it's just everyone throwing their tickets on the ground. There's a lot of stories. Arkong winning the Breeders' Cup at 122-1. There's plenty of long shots that come in.
Yeah.
There's lots of craziness. I mean, for crazy stories, I mean, it's the craziest. The outcome, when they break out of those gates, anything can happen.
Yep.
And I've seen horses turn around and go the wrong way. It's a scary, scary thing. But you never really know what can happen. You
know what it reminds me of a little bit, just in its own way? It's a little bit like boxing, where you don't know what's going to happen when you have, 2 fighters step in a ring. You obviously have a little bit of an idea. But the fact that it's anybody's thing, it's like a gladiator kind of thing almost when those things shoot out of the gate.
And it's how they show up that day. They're animals.
Yeah.
They could have a headache. As an athlete, know some days you're feeling off your game. And with horses, sometimes it's hard to see when they're off their game. They can be perfectly sound, look great, but maybe on the inside they're just not feeling wonderful.
And any little thing can just make them do whatever.
Yeah, and if they're just off just a tick, you're talking they're off a second, which is about 5 lengths in horse racing. So that can make all the difference. If you're just a little bit off your game, it can change the outcome.
There's been some crazy names that I've heard announced on this speaker today. What do you think is the best name that we have here today for a horse name?
The best name for a horse?
Yeah, that's here today.
I like White Abario.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a good name. It's a beautiful white horse.
Okay.
He's got a huge fanfare behind him.
Gotcha.
There is plenty of wonderful, unusual names that sometimes shock you that they get past the Jockeys Club has to.
Oh, they have to approve.
They have to approve every single name.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So people try some pretty interesting ones.
Yeah, you'll go to like some of the fundraisers, like the night of the Derby or whatever, where it's just like on tapes, and some of those names get a little.
Oh yeah, they get a little.
Yeah.
Yes. People say things about their ex-wife and who knows what else. You get all sorts of things, little meetings in there.
Yeah, so it's good to know that there's some sort of commission that oversees the official horse name.
Yes,
That's
for sure.
good to know for sure. Patrick, we appreciate you so much for joining the show, man. This was so much help. This is so insightful.
Thank you.